Alright, you bastards, this is Some-Belgian-prepper, and today we're going to talk about how to survive 28 days later, 28 weeks later, and I'm looking forward for it, 28 years later. But before we do that, if you're interested in survival courses in Belgium, there will be a link to my website, survivaltrainingbelgië.be, and also to my book called Bloody Crosses. So if you're interested, take a look, I would say. So, 28 days, weeks, and now years later is a sort of zombie movie, or a series of zombie movies actually. And the premise is it's a rage virus that escaped in England and can infect the population very fast. So first of all, we need to know what is the danger. What are these zombies? Well, yeah, these zombies are actually just regular people who are infected with a rage virus that peaks their adrenaline so high and their rage that they will attack anything in sight. So, what are their weaknesses and what are their strengths? Their strength is mainly the rate of the speed of the infection. If you get one drop of blood, one bite in any orifice or in your bloodstream, you will turn into a rage zombie within a few seconds. And yeah, that can go very, very fast. So yeah, you got to avoid blood, bites, so all the works. And we're going to talk about animals later, how to avoid them. But another thing is, they because they are full of adrenaline, they mainly don't see that well, because if you're full of pumped of adrenaline, you will you will only focus on the one thing and you're easily distracted. So that's one of their weaknesses, but they are so focused on everything. If you ever went hungry, you will know, you will smell any uh, any barbecue within 1 or 2 kilometer radius. So they have heightened senses in a way, like sound and smell. We're going to talk about that later too. The thing also is they are freaking fast because they are full of rage, full of adrenaline, and they don't feel any pain. They don't care about pain, so they can go very fast for as long as their body can carry. So that's another strength of them. And another thing you need to watch out for is they because there's regular humans, can they can die of thirst, dehydration, and of starvation, and of fatigue. So that's a good thing, but on the other hand, it is dangerous because the moment they are too fatigued, starving, they go into a sort of hibernation mode. So that could happen that you think that one of the zombies over there is lay dead, or it's just a body, and they can suddenly wake up and go with you with full speed again because of the adrenaline shot they got from it. So yeah, that is what we're dealing with. And yeah, first of all, if our rage virus would break out, I would say go to the countryside for several reasons. Uh, the city and densely populated cities, towns, are just open buffets. So naturally, there will be the most zombies because, like I said before, they can and die of starvation and thirst. So the virus needs a certain, how do you say, a rotation in new infections. It's like a Ponzi. Actually, it's actually like a Ponzi schemes of zombie infection. So they need new victims to spread it. So yeah, in a city or a densely populated area, of course, there will be the most zombies. And I would say go to the countryside, not only because there are several benefits of it. First of all, you can see a lot of places in the countryside, so you can see the zombies coming from far away. So you have time between the distance to find a place to shelter, hide, or perhaps keep some distance between you. Because in a tight populated area, the moment you see one, they are within uh, line of sight, walking, running distance, and they will be within you, in your throat, within 10 seconds. So yeah, countryside. Another thing is the countryside is also, how do you say this? You can hide easily. There is a lot of place to walk. In a city, you have 3, 4 streets, alleyways, and if a zombie chooses the right one where you hide it, you're fucked. So in the countryside, you see a zombie, you can go down grass, ditches, houses, uh, meadows. There are all these kind of places where you can easily hide. But the problem is they can see and hide. They can be difficult to spot for you. But usually these rage zombies are flailing around, walking around, so they will be easily spotted. If they are spotted you, they make noise. They have big movements, so they're easy to spot. So in the countryside, I would say wear camouflage clothing. Wear something that is not highly visible, green, gray, a ghillie suit, camouflage clothing, whatever. Make yourself harder to spot. Perhaps some coal from a fire ripped on your face, so you don't have the facials that is easily to spot from a distance, and perhaps some camouflage paint. So those will help a lot. Next thing I would say is, and that is actually something from the that is a danger in the movie that is not really that much talked about, and that is the other animals. Animals cannot be infected with the rage virus. The problem is they can eat the corpses that are infected with the rage virus. So in the movie, there is a scene where this guy, where they come to an abandoned military post, and a bird that was eating from a corpse dropped some blood down, and it fell into this guy's eye, and he started to change within a few seconds. So imagine if there are birds eating corpses that are infected. They have they walk on corpses, and their feet touches something that uninfected people uses much. Yeah, that can spread it far away. So that's very dangerous. And that's something that is not talked in the movie. Here are insects, mosquitoes, flies. They sit on infected corpses, and they sting, or they sit on food of people that are healthy. And in the movie, it's not talked, but it is a very big danger to get infected by eating food where flies with particles on it landed on your food, or birds that drink from your water source and infected it that way. So yeah, that's something that you really need to watch out for. So in case something like that happened, I would say get enough of these anti-insect spray, so flies won't land on you. Disinfect every water source that you have to the teeth. So yeah, that's another thing. And talking about water, if there are bodies in a water source, that water source is infected. Because of the rate of the infection, public water sources are not reliable or not working at all. So you will be either be dependent on clean drinking water, or for sanitation upon um, catching rainwater. Either either disinfect your water with something like chlor tablets, or perhaps you can take some bleach, use it in a spray bottle. I would say if you want to clean yourself, your wounds, or a place where some blood spatters were, but not into an orifice or an eye, we will talk about it later, you can spray it that way. So you can use chlorine tablets to disinfect drinking water. If you're going to drink from a water source, that even if it's disinfected, I would say put it in a copper bottle. Even if it's been touched, it can kill pathogens like viruses, bacteria. So copper is a very handy material that can kill these kind of pathogens. Or boil water. If you're going to boil water, I would advise to use a solo stove. I made a video about this, and this is a stove that can reburn the smoke, so it's smokeless. So it will not drown the attention of rich zombies. It gives a little, very small light. So in a covered situation, it's easy to do it with very little light, and it's very it use not that much fuel. So that's another benefit of it. Sorry. All right. Another thing I would say is, if you're in the countryside, also you have to see where you're going, and to see if certain things are safe to go. So I would say look for with a binocular or a monocular around before you go somewhere. Just go slow, silent, and observe. That's a very good one. Another thing I would say is, um, where was I? Oh yeah, don't be stealthy. So no sound. Whatever you do, don't scream, don't laugh, don't make unnecessarily noises. Even not with when you're working with tools, be as silent as possible, especially at night where sounds travel further. So that's another danger that you will have. This also counts, we will talk about this later, but with gunshots, it's just a dinner bell, so to call. So no sound whatsoever, or at least minimal. And if you have made a sound or you drop something, like, be very quiet, and hear if one of the zombies in the nearby sanctuary has heard it and is walking towards you. So be very alert for that. Another thing I would say is smoke. Like I said, smoke. If you're going to make a fire, build a small fire as possible, or and use something that can and lessen the smoke. So I'm talking about digging a Dakota fire pit where the smoke, where the air is getting through, and it will make it so hot that the smoke will be burnt off. A solo stove that really uses the smoke to burn off, or the problem is you can use something like a gas camping stove or whatever, but these things also leave a certain smell. They make a certain noise, so that's a little bit more risky, and you need to replenish the cartridges, or to use some sort of, yeah, a sort of fuel that you will have to go into certain places like a gas station, camping stores, or whatever, for gas or these kind of fuel blocks or whatever. Another thing I would say is don't smoke. Like I said, smoke will draw them, because these zombies, the moment they hear or smell something, they are drawn to it. In one of the comics of the 28 Days Later series, there was this survivor who had beef with another survivor, and he noticed that people who wore perfume or deodorant were usually the first ones to die. So yeah, people who during the evacuations use some sort of perfume or um, high sanitation product that smelled very good, they were the rich zombies were drawn to it. And this guy dropped some perfume on the his rival survivor, and all the zombies went after him. So yeah, that's also a very strong one. And of course, light. If you're going to make light, I would say keep it to a minimal. So during the night, just bunker somewhere and don't make a light. Always wear something like a headlight or something with you. So this is very important in case there is a zombie in the night, and they, because these rage zombies in the comics, they do sort of travel at night. It was in the during the day, they they were less visible, but when they saw something, they're coming after you. But during the night, they seem to travel from place to place, and usually in hordes. So it's like a horde effect where they gather around and go in the same direction aimlessly during the night when they are not stimulated. So yeah, and during the night, this is also probably the reason, because during the day they can see birds flying and they go, because they see something moving, they go after it, and during the night they are not that stimulated, so they aimlessly wander about. So that's something that you also need to watch out, especially with light. I would say use this small headlight in case you need to make an escape or you need to fight and you have both your hands free to defend yourself while you have a light, so that you don't need to hold one and you only have one hand to defend. I would say get something very small like a tea light candle, if you're in a small secure place, and these are very hand these tea light candles you can almost find in every home. So yeah, or you need a light that you can minimize, how do you say this, you can minimize the strength of the light to a absolute minimum or use a red light. I made a video about the survival uses of a red light, so that's another thing you can do. But you'll need electricity, which is not available unless you have something to power it up, but that makes noise and yeah, can break, or you need to maintain it. So this a tea light candle is something that you can find in every home or store. uh all right, protecting yourself, that is very important. The most important things you need to protect yourself are a mouth mask and some glasses. And why is this important? Because if you are going to defend yourself against a zombie, uh, the transmission will happen in a few ways. Either they are going to bite you, so what you need is something to put around your arms. I would say some heavy leather jacket is one of the survivors used in the comics, or that they, when the zombie tried to bite them, they couldn't get through or did not get their saliva in there. Another thing was like in World War Z, where this guy would wrap magazines around his arm, and the thing they would do is, a zombie, his first instinct is to bite the first thing that they get, and if your arm is protected with magazines or a thick leather jacket, you can, just like a dog that would attack, you can present it, and you can use the other hand to take the zombie out. So that's another thing. Another thing is, like I said, with the glasses and the mask, if you hit a zombie with whatever weapon you have from close range, the blood spatters is usually a way that people got infected, whether the droplets of the blood got into their eyes or in their mouth, and that way they got infected. So just a regular pair of safety glasses, and of course be aware to put some soap on these glasses, because otherwise, especially with a mask, the hot air goes up and yeah, it will fog up. Yeah, fog with a G, by the way. So that's very important. Um, like I said, some make sure that you don't get into your face. Another thing these zombies can infect other people's is by puking. These zombies, when they are very close onto somebody, they have the tendency to start to puke blood and infect a person that way. So yeah, even if you wear a mask or glasses, if a zombie lie on top of you and pukes all over your face, it will get into you and you will be infected anyway. Many people would say, why don't you wear a gas mask? Well, the problem with the gas mask is several things. I will demonstrate. It makes noise. It makes noise, so that's not ideal. I only have a small vision, and the breathing, it makes me harder to breathe. It will, how do you say this, make me less alert, very tired after a short use. And even so, for protection, it can protect against if you work with them in close range, but yeah, it's better to prevent than to defend, I would say. So that's not really a good choice, in my opinion. In certain situations, perhaps, but no. Another thing I would say is, because you're going to grab a lot of things that might be infected, safety gloves. And I would say leather gloves, because if you're going to grab something that is a little bit sharp or have rough edges and is infected with blood, yeah, infected blood, yeah. Or to defend yourself if you want to push away a zombie and he wants to bite, that's another thing. So gloves protect your arms, a face mask like in the chirurgs, surgeons, yeah, that you can put down, or some glasses and a mouth mask. So those are the most important ones, I would say. Yeah, another, and like I said before, prevention is better than defending. So how are you going to prevent? Like I said before, first of all, don't be seen, ghillie suit, camouflage, lay low, don't make sound, don't be too visible. But what if they're infected around? What I would do is two options are very good for this. Either you use one of these old clocks and you can set them off, you can wind them up, and set them somewhere that you know I want to escape in 10 minutes or something. You can place it somewhere, go to a place where you escape route is. It goes off, make a ringing noise. All the infected go to that place, and you can go to that place where you know that all the zombies within that distance or have left the place to go somewhere. Another thing I would say is one of these egg clocks. So you can place them somewhere, and the same thing goes when they are going off. They make a ringing sound, and these are also something. It is also something that you can find in almost every home. These clocks are a little bit more difficult, perhaps these days, but an egg clock is something that almost every house has. So if you have a few of these, you can clear routes by perhaps throwing them, placing them, and setting them off. Um, so this is how I would get around a little bit. So with prevention. The next thing, what is the best way to defend? Of course, many people would say I would choose a goddamn AR-15 with a full capacity magazine with 100 bullets and a silencer, and yeah, most people don't have those things. And especially in the world of 28 days later, that is Britain. Most people don't have guns. Gun laws are very strict in Britain, so you will have to do what we have with what's available. So, like in the video I made about the crust, the thing I would find best is a spear. So, with a spear, you can, if a zombie comes to you, you can stab them in a sensitive place, sternum, heart, because these zombies, they are just regular humans. So if you can hit them in a critical spot, you can stop them or kill them. So perhaps sternum, heart. If you can double stab in the lungs, they perhaps collapse directly in the throat. But yeah, with this, you have the risk that there are blood spatters coming around, or that they, by pure adrenaline, onto your spear and get close to you. So in that case, I would say get a pitchfork with three prongs. You can stab them in a sensitive place, and even if they don't die from the first stab, you can hold them at bay, perhaps throw them on the ground, pinch them to the ground while your buddy is finishing them off. So, in my opinion, a pitchfork would be one of the best weapons in this kind of zombie apocalypse, especially if you're with two, that you can use a body system, or like the Greeks with a phalanx spear formation, that you can hold zombies back and the second person behind them can finish them up. So another thing I would say is, and it is where opinions can divide, a blunt weapon like a tonfa is something that you can block, and yeah, it's hard to do here, but you can really smack somebody with some fairly distance and how do you say, break some skulls with it. Uh, yeah, and you can also push. You can can use this to break open windows, and whatever, or perhaps to climb over a wall that you can climb. So with a tonfa, you can do a lot of handy things, or you can poke something to see if it's really dead or something safe to touch. Uh, and also important, you cannot cut yourself. There was one in the universe of the day. 28 days later, there were somebody who accidentally cut himself with a machete, and yeah, he was fucked. And the machete is something that is often used in 28 days later by one of the protagonists, but yeah, you really have to be really good and you have to be really experienced to use this to minimize the blood splatter, and also that it's a critical hit, because most people, they don't have the alignment or the precision or the experience to use this properly. So yeah, that's a little bit dangerous. And of course, if you're going to use a gun, I would say go with a revolver. And many people would say, why don't you go for an M9 Beretta with 15 bullets? Uh, yeah, the problem is if you encounter a group of zombies, yeah, they you have to be a really good marksman to take them all down with one shot, and especially if it's a lower shot like 9 millimeter or something. Yeah, good luck with that. That is Hollywood is not real. So yeah, I would say if I'm going to choose in this universe something, it would be a revolver, like a .38 or something Magnum, something that can give a punch. Even though this is only would only be 5 or 6 bullets, the I want that the zombie that I'm going to hit, because they are just humans that are infected, they can go down by pure stopping power. So yeah, and by the time you are going to use your 6 bullets and they are in a group, yeah, you're fucked anyway. So, and another thing I like about revolvers is they are less prone to jamming or malfunctions. I've shoot some pistols in my time, and yeah, a revolver I never had an issue with it. And if I saw an issue, it was from somebody I knew who ever had one, where the ammunition was not good, where they were stuck 2 or 3 times in the barrel. And that's the only malfunction of somebody I know who regularly shoots guns. With pistols, it's one thing after the other, from experienced shooters. So yeah, that's the reason why I would prefer a revolver with a bigger caliber. So yeah, um, where were we? Oh yeah, another thing is avoid military and groups of survivors. I know this might sound a little bit contrary, but like I said, you have to really observe with who or what you're dealing with, especially in this universe, because one survivor group was called himself the King of Glasgow or something it was, and they blocked off a certain part of the city, and they acted like it was a kingdom. Every survivor that one went through had to pay tribute or something, in or by or they took something from a store that was nearby that was abandoned, and they claimed that you stole from our kingdom, you have to pay for everything till your debt is served. So it was um, like a group of bandits that took advantages of survivors, and that is something that can happen and has happened in very dangerous situations like in war or a social decline or civil wars. So why wouldn't it happen during zombie survival scenarios? Another thing was a military that were cut off from the group or went rogue. So yeah, this military, they didn't receive orders anymore. They did not had communications with the outside, and they didn't know what to do, and they went rogue or they went crazy. So these are also things that happened. So, and another thing is the military that were stationed around Britain, every boat they saw or every safe zone the that people were just went through were shot because they might be infected, or they were mistaken for infected, or they couldn't take a chance that they would leave Britain to infect the vast land of Europe. But in 28, spoiler by the way, in 28 weeks later, some idiot went with a helicopter with a carrier and infected whole of Europe. So yeah, what an idiot. Uh, so yeah, avoid the military as much as possible. So how are you gonna survive this? Well, I would say just do like in the movies, and just stay, like I said, lay low, be stealthy, and wait it out. Because, like I said, the reason why this movie was called 28 Days Later is because after 28 days, most of the zombies were starved of thirst. They dehydrated. They starved of starvation because the zombies don't take care of themselves, or from the blood from the victims, or from the rain by walking at night. So that's the way that they could go on for much longer. So yeah, 28 days was the time that most of the zombies died, and this was during a little bit of summertime. So this meant that zombies that were walking around, usually in their regular clothing where they were infected, they They don't care whether it's cold or too hot. So during the summer, they can die of dehydration and how do you say this, heat how do you say this? Heat cramps, or you can wait it out when it's winter time, and they will die very fast of how do you say this, when they are started when they are dying of cold, hypothermia. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. So yeah, you got to let nature go by. As long as you can survive with the rule of three, 3 minutes without air, 3 days without water, no wait, 3 hours without good protection shelter against extreme temperatures or weather conditions, 3 days without water, and 3 weeks without food. So yeah, if you can survive that, you can outwait and outlast the zombies from 28 days later. So yeah, so if you got a few of these foods that you can eat without having to cook, the better. If you got a storage of water that has not been opened or infected, the better. And you can, if you can stay warm during a night in a shelter place stay. But the biggest danger will come from psychological, because if you are in a good place where you can hide, as long as you don't make sound, noise, light, you have food, you have water, you can outlast them. But many people cannot survive in this long in isolation, especially the more people there are, the more danger there is somebody will fuck it up. So that's something that happened in 28 weeks later. One of the survivors looked too much outside. One of the or and they saw a kid that was help, help. They had pity with the child. They let them in, and the zombies from far away saw it and they ran over the place. So yeah, that's really bad. That's bad, okay. So yeah, that's something that you need to watch out for. If you have a strong mind, and if you can keep somebody else strong, inspire them, keep them strong, yeah, mentally and psychologically, and you can survive it well. Always have an escape plan. That's also very important. uh what is another important thing that they did in the movies? Don't Oh yeah, this might sound yeah, it really pisses me off, to be honest. It is so typical in these movies. 28 weeks later, there are also these kind of people that are immune to the virus, but they can still infect others. And this one guy who was working as a janitor in a military base, his wife that he left during attack so many years ago, 28 weeks later, before, so to say, was found in one of the apartments. They got into the military base. The janitor came into this room that was not guarded, by the way. Uh, he saw his wife, he kissed his wife, and the wife infected him, and he started to annihilating every healthy person in the base. So, yeah, don't let your emotions get over your head and logical inflammation. So that's something. That's one thing. Another thing is, and yeah, this is also in 28 weeks later. One of the childs was also, yeah, that was the son of these two shits, and he was also a carrier that could infect others because he was bitten by the father that kissed the mother that was infected. Yeah, it's a whole line. Yeah, I know. I shouldn't be like this, but yeah, the kid was infected. One of the military. Oh, the one. I will help you. I promised. I will take you to safety. Infected boy that doesn't show signs, and his sister were flown over by a military that went to against the orders to kill everyone who tried to who posed a danger, and he brought him to the worst place, not outside of the military base, not to another military safe base where there are protocols. No, directly over the channel to Europe, where the whole continent was fucked because of these sentimental, emotional, bad decisions. So yeah, if you and this is by the way something that might sound hard, but if you are if you have survived in an infected zone, don't be surprised that other people will shoot you or will deny you entrance, or yeah, because you might be infected, and I understand that, and you have to act towards this. Don't be like, yeah, you can try to get somebody else that is oversensitive to, oh, please look into your heart. And yeah, that is how people die. Then yeah, just keep it in mind that not that keep it logical and not with your emotions, and you can save so many more lives, and don't infect a whole continent because, oh, the poor baby. Yeah, that is might sound a little bit hard, but that is something that really pisses me off, that really pisses in my Cheerios when I see this kind of plots in horror movies. All right. uh yeah, don't worry, I was a little bit off rant now, but yeah, I think I'm almost ready or done. So yeah, this was my take on how I would survive a 28 days, 28 weeks, and soon 28 years later movies and universe. So if you got any other things that you would do, please let me know in the comments. Always eager to learn uh, other people's ways or way of thinking. So yeah, that would be interesting to see from other people, and watch those movies. These are my these the 28 days movies are is one of my favorite zombie movies. So I would say look it up. Very realistic, and 28 weeks later into 28 weeks later is a little bit is good certain scenes, but the whole story and premises are like bad decisions, one bad decision after the other. So yeah, so I hope 28 years later will be a very very good movie, and yeah, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and see you next video. Cheers.